you're saying if you can behave well enough that other people can stand having you around so that they can provide you with corrective feedback. And if you're sane enough so that other people can stand having you around, they'll reward you when you deserve to be rewarded, and they'll punish you when you deserve to be punished. And all you need to do is pay really careful attention to that feedback, and you'll be sane and properly situated. Now, that can go wrong if the entire social community takes a pathological turn, and that makes things more complicated. And that does happen from time to time, but generally speaking, you have to be surrounded by people, and so we could walk through that. Very few people can function effectively without an intimate relationship. That's because you don't have anybody who's monitoring you over the medium to long run if you don't have an intimate relationship. And so how can you organize yourself intelligibly and sanely without the medium to long-term orientation? You just can't do it. And how can you tell if you're being a civilized human being if you're not bouncing your behavior off someone really close to you continually? You can't.
That's right.
You need the intimate relationship. You need the family, parents and siblings, children, for the same reason. And you need friends. You talk a lot in your book about friends, and you have some good practical advice, I would say, and this would be something for us usefully to concentrate on, I would say, as you talk about how people can make friends, because people really don't know. And so maybe you could share some of that with people who are watching and listening.
Yeah, I think there's two tracks I want to follow. And one, we can circle back to this conversation we're having right now. Evolutionarily, I think we're running a fantastic experiment, because for all of the history of mankind, nobody could sit in and listen to you and I dialoguing this way unless they were in physical proximity, which that physical proximity is a form of intimacy. We're all in the same room, sharing the same meal, sharing the same fire. And now we've created this bizarre intimacy where people can drive to work for 2 hours, one way, and they can go on road trips, but they're sitting by the fire with us, right? And so there's this intellectual intimacy that's happening, but I think our bodies are hollering at us. When it comes to making friends, I spent a season, I was 2 inches from my wife, and I was 2,000 miles away from her. And I shared a bed with a woman that I loved, and I was profoundly lonely. And I always thought lonely was proximal, right? You have nobody around you. And so I think it's proximal and it's emotional. I mastered the art of being alone. I'm an introvert by nature, just a nerd. I love to read my books. And so I mastered the art of being alone in a crowded room. I can wave and smile and be completely on my own planet. And that has a physiological and a spiritual cost to it. And so what I had to stop doing was beating myself up for having a lack of character, or I'm a failure. No, I needed to learn a new set of skills, and that skill set was making friends. When you're a child, when you're in middle school, when you're in high school, when you're in university, everything is geared towards community. You play games together, you don't play games together. It's all about doing things together. And then you cross that graduation stage, or you get out of the army, and the world looks at you and says, it's now you versus everybody. And so I think we just have to say, hey, I don't have the skill set, so what do I got to do? I think we overthink it. I think hospitality, going first, asking people over to your house, to your events, to your thing, and just go first and get over yourself. Look at it as you just got to quit smoking at some point. I just got to make friends at some point. I'm going to go first. People are going to say no. They're going to challenge you. You're going to find out that nobody wants to be around you. So you got to go to the mirror and ask yourself, what is it about me that I'm projecting in the world that nobody wants to spend time with me? It really challenges, but man, just let's stop over pathologizing it. Let's just go be weird. Go be weird and be hospitable. Go first. Go first.